My,
So,
my, are you able to see me? Like my
yes.
head?
Yeah. Yeah, we can. Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes my
Yeah,
head
you're
gets
good.
cut off. So,
No, no, you're good. You're good. Hang on.
okay.
Let me just make sure that it's catching on to the platforms. It looks like
Okay.
it's taking a little bit of time.
All is well.
Let's see. Gonna do it or not? Okay, here we go. All right, there we go.
Um,
All right. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. Hang on.
Excellent.
All right.
All
Okay.
right.
So there's Facebook, YouTube, and X. Okay, we're good. All three platforms. All right.
As long as you know what you're
Yeah, we were
doing,
just
that's
having a laugh. I don't know what I'm doing. I think that's this whole energy now. Really. Um,
okay.
it's a pleasure though. Episode number 70. I'll do episode number 69 sometime later today. I've been putting it off for like 36 hours, but
Oh,
70 is a big number. It's a big number, and this is our really, it's our 69th, but it's labeled the 70th podcast of the year. And after doing about 70 a month for many, many years. But I want to formally introduce our friend,
yeah.
Elizabeth Clarizio, and just say, hey, thank you for coming in and raising your hand and saying, let's have an honest conversation and talk about what's going on. And thank you so much for coming in here and sharing sacred space with me.
Thank you for having me. This is an honor.
Mm.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here in space with you. Now, time, space, reality with Todd
Well,
Medina. This is
the honor
beautiful.
is all mine. I can tell you straight up, it's all mine. I mean, the levels of humility that are being fed out to us through this multi stream transition we call ascension is mind blowing at times. And we had a quick laugh before we came on. We probably didn't talk a minute, 60
Nope.
seconds, but I picked up immediately from you because you're like, how are you doing? These energies are not going to be denied, I think. And thank you for coming on.
Yes, it's an honor to be here. It really is. I've been watching you for years. So when you kind of disappeared for a little while, um, as I was going through my ascension and really, really being raised to higher levels of awareness of who we are, um, you came out with Kevin Holtz, right? One of your sessions. You started this, you came out with Kevin Holtz, and the two of you made me cry my eyes out. It was the most beautiful thing for me personally to see the two of you together. Um, and I'm going to try to explain it, and it might not sound right to some people, but it's just, pure from my heart. There were a certain amount of us that were coming up together, you know, in this awareness. And a lot of them are like gone. We just don't see them anymore. And when I saw the two of you, my heart just exploded. It was like, oh my gosh, those are my brothers. They're together. They're here together in that perfect time. And I think it was right after the president got elected
Mm.
to be the president. And I believe we all simultaneously felt that lift, just like, I don't know. It was like it was just a lift. It was like this barrier just lifted and the heavens just opened. And
Yeah,
then you
it's like
guys
almost,
started.
yeah, almost like um, it, it was an obvious change in the energetic field, regardless of your politics.
Yeah,
It's that kind of
has
thing. It was
nothing to
like, you
do with
know what?
politics. Exactly.
Exactly. It was like, the bull in the china shop just returned. The
Yes.
energy of it. Like a lot of
Yes.
people like us, we're like, I'm tired. We've been doing this a
Yeah.
long time.
Oh, we've been
But then
doing this a long.
to see that energy, that's a reflection of us. We want to get this work done. And not then again, that's not a political statement. That's not a statement out of righteousness, which is coming, from me or you. It's just a
No.
reality. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, it's simply what it is. And that's what we're here for. We're here to hold that frequency. We're here to be that frequency and we're here to deliver it to humanity. And that's the beauty of it. And that's in all humility. That's not like, oh, look at me. I've done this. We've done our work. We've done some massive inner work, and
Yeah,
now we're
thank you. Thank you for saying that because man, woman, child, whatever. I mean, you're right. There's a group, and maybe that group's from 45 and up. I don't know. There's a lot of women, no doubt.
yeah,
Grid
yeah,
work, grid work, doing, blessings and rituals and blessing the earth and connecting to Mother Earth and Mother Goddess and so on. But yeah, I
yeah,
think you're right. And I really do appreciate the fact that you recognize and acknowledge the work that we've all done individually, no matter how far we have to go or not, to
yeah,
100% love for ourselves, which is really probably the most powerful thing we can do. And then even in this crazy realm is just to carry, like you were talking about, carry that vibration, that frequency,
yeah,
and being that through it all. Right. I
yeah.
mean, that was really profound what you said. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, it's I can sit here and I can say I love all that I am, all that I've ever been, and all that I will be, because I don't even know the will be yet, and it's perfect. It's perfect. I don't need to know the will be, because the will be is the frequency that we're holding, you know, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense to me. I shared a video. I wish I could recall it verbatim, but basically what it was talking about, when we talk about we will have this, you know, out there, and
Hmm.
that it's actually right here.
Oh, it's
So like as
already.
we're
Yeah.
saying, I will have this in time or whatever the case is. But I really feel
Hmm.
like that's a great example. You said it better than the video I shared, but
Oh, good.
yeah, no, but I mean, like, really, it is here. It's here
It's
right now.
done.
It's right this moment.
Yes.
And it's transparency blasting or wanting to blast, because it is such a liberating and freeing thing.
Hmm.
And the crazy thing is that the core of it is us stepping through that which we would not want others to see. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know
Thank you.
exactly what you mean. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Um, this I'm very, very you can stand here and you can say, my gosh, I'm so damn proud of myself, because of everything that we've overcome, and we've overcome it. It's like that saying, we're here to overcome the world, right? But it's not so much the external world, it's the inner world. So you're overcoming that inner world within you, which brings you to that space of pure unconditional love, peace, harmony, and you are the abundance. You're all of it. So because it starts from within and then it exudes externally.
Yeah, the energy of the mother.
Gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. You just sit in your very own frequency of love, and it's like nothing external can move you. you know no matter what's going on out there, it doesn't move you.
There's been a lot of downloads and channelings and narratives over the years. I mean, it's so hard to explain what, we come into this thing as humans trying to comprehend. And like you said,
Mm.
I love it because that seems to be one of the pathways to the new tech, you might say, or the new code is you don't have to know. Like you let that go because that's part of the identity that you've got to let go so you can bring this in and understand it in a way that you never thought you could understand it. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, going back to what you said about, we've done the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still judge ourselves and we're still on the road, but there's something that's brought us here to this point.
Yes.
And I recently went through something. I didn't go through it. I was a witness, but I have a very big Latin family, Mexican family, and something happened very quickly with someone very, very close to me. Um,
Mhm.
that became life-threatening, a young person, 24 years old. And I sent text messages out to a couple of different text groups that I had with my sisters, my cousins, and I watched and I felt and I witnessed the reaction of, you might say, the death program. You know what I mean? Or just one representation of what we're letting loose of, you know.
Mhm.
And I felt as an empath, as we all can at times, uh, how it hit everyone in that circle, you know.
Mhm.
And my point is, at the center of that circle was this incredible being, a soul,
Yeah.
who was going through the life and death collapse. And we are
Mhm.
all going to do it if we haven't done it. And we might do it again and again at a deeper level. And I don't know. For me, listening to you, it just brought it right back to what you were saying.
Mhm.
Because what you're saying is so simple and profoundly beautiful and true. And we all know it,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? Uh, but yeah, and I think that energy, which I guess we would call love, true love, even love that we don't understand, like
Uh,
the limitless bounds of love. Uh, but that it's real and
yep.
fuck all this stuff. Excuse my French,
Oh,
but
that, oh no, don't ever apologize to me. That's just you being you. And, and it's about being authentically being you and unapologetically being that which we truly are. And, yeah, don't ever apologize to me because I am that I am. And I'm grateful for the journey. Um, and everything, absolutely everything and everyone that has come on my path, because without that reflection, I wouldn't I wouldn't be able to know the truth of who I am, not in the physical, but the non-physical aspect through the physical. And we
yeah,
use the word love, and I'll express on that. Everything and anything I say is based on my experience, so there's no judgment on anything or anyone else's experience. But what I've been shown is the word love is about the closest the human aspect of us can understand the frequency of all that we truly are, because it's so daggone explosive and expansive that's as close as our human awareness can get to it, but we are far greater and far more expansive and far more beautiful and far more. Ooh, okay, so I have no words for us. That's just how amazing we truly are. When we do that in a work and we really truly seek to know the truth of who we are. And if you're truly seeking it, not that you're really seeking, because it's seeking you more than you're seeking it. You're just giving permission for it to fully express itself through you. Does that make sense? It does to me.
yeah, it makes total absolute sense.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of the consideration that maybe the biggest, we've been in a realm
Mm-hmm.
of comparison and competition, and we all know the narratives.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, we're coming from a place of lesser than,
Yes.
but it gives to me to consider in openness, fantastic as it is, and I believe the reality of it is us. You know, the personal transformation, awareness, observation, actualization, alignment of thoughts, words, and actions is the most powerful form of love
Yes.
on the planet. Energy,
Yeah.
the great unknown, the abyss, the particles of the womb of creation. I mean, this is,
Yeah.
and the whole thing is that the whole world will tell you there's a whole lot of other things that are more important. And what about this? And what about that? And what about this? But
This.
we can only have influence, and even then, because we all doubt ourselves, right?
Mhm.
Um, we can only influence what we can influence. And
Mhm.
what's the greatest influence? But to well, you know what? I think there's a lot of people going to it, but like to acknowledge the space that we're moving into, regardless of whether it's with all of us or not. It's a single person going, you know what? I'm good with this, you know? And
Very
how
good.
that actually, yeah, it's not words, it's not a post,
Oh.
it's just you this, oh, you know what? I'm okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm okay with dying tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
and living
All tomorrow.
today. And
Yeah.
like it makes you think like, okay, if I was gonna die tomorrow or say Friday, next week or whatever, would I be thinking about the things that I'm thinking about? Would I be worrying about this bullshit and all that stuff? Or would I be being with who I love,
Yeah.
appreciating in gratitude that doing what I love doing to the last
Yep.
moment, you know? Thank you for
Yes.
letting me speak. It's a very energetic day for me. I feel like. Thank you.
You speak all you want to speak. I love listening to you talk. So I love your heart. I love who you are. And that's the content, like the connection for me, okay, for who I am, is the heart coherence, the heart and mind coherence together. The oneness of all that we are, body, mind, spirit, the full alignment, you know. Um, but it's like an eye to eye thing, and we're all hitting different levels, but it's like we're all popping together, you know. We're together, but some are hitting different levels than others of awareness. But yet I put Facebook on, and then boom, there's another one saying something. I'm like, yes, they're coming. Yes, they're coming. And everyone's just coming up and coming up and coming up. And really, we think we're the ones that are in control of this. You know, we're in control of it by what we express or what we um share, et cetera, et cetera. We're not. We're the conduits and the vessel of that which is um, flowing through us to represent itself through everything, physical form, everything that you look at, just like the birds and the trees and the grass and everything else. It's just where this is the allowance, you know, and it's just allowing it to flow. But yes, the most important thing. Yesterday was my birthday. And everybody was like, oh, we want to
Happy
go.
birthday.
Why, thank you. One of my sons wanted to take me out last night. The other one wanted to take me out tonight. And to me, I was tossed to and fro inside myself because what I was sensing was division, and I'm unity. I'm about unity, that unified oneness, that unified love, that unified coming together. And I just, closed myself off in my room, and I said, well, what do I want to do today? What's going to bring me pleasure and bring unity? And I said, I'm not going out. I'm going to go to the store. We're going to went with my son. We purchased, what we wanted to eat. We came home, we cooked together, we grilled out. It was perfect, you know, because it wasn't over extensive, and we created a memory. that's going to last forever. And everyone came together. Both my boys were there. It was unified, you know. Um, so that how do you even word it? I can't even word it other
Well, it
than
reminds me,
it's all that
it
I am.
reminds me, it reminds me of, I think a lot of people can relate to it, either, whatever means they may have experienced it. And that is, when we go into, let's just say, a meditative state, or connect to, you know, the other parts of existence, or whatever you want to call it, there's, and we can all kind of attest to this, there's these moments where you're receiving. Sometimes we're asked, are you
Yes.
ready for this? And so we get this lift, which
Yeah.
often over the years has been a challenge to the human, because, like, once it hits, you're like, what the hell's going on? This is gone and this is here, and what is this, and what was that that's left, and why did it leave, and shadow work, and this, and all, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I feel like that, we talk about embodiment, especially this year. And really,
Hmm.
last year was kind of almost like an incubation or something. But that those moments are, it would be inevitable if we're embodying and we've done the work, and I believe we can acknowledge this.
Hmm.
Okay, otherwise we'd all be losing our minds.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
then
absolutely.
it would only make sense that we would come together and
Yeah.
have these moments, which are really not limited by linear time.
Yes.
They're quantum, they're
Yes.
quantum entanglement. They're affecting every single thing. And back to what you said earlier, and when I commented earlier, maybe the biggest disclosure is our own power, and the
Yes.
reality of who and what we are, and actually what we're here doing. I mean, it's, after all the stuff, you're like, oh, is that it? But it's a simple concept to,
Yeah.
consider, but it's also makes sense because it's beautifully profound and
Right.
finite, and infinite in its possibilities, to include anything could change right now,
At
for
any moment.
me, for you. That's right. Or the whole world. And
Yes.
yeah, it's an amazing place to be having a conversation like this
Yeah.
openly, given all the things that are out there on all the different platforms, but to actually be in the conversation of what's going on with you,
Hmm.
between little Elizabeth and big Elizabeth, and little Todd and big
Little
Todd. You know what I
Elizabeth.
mean? I mean, this is code.
This
If we're
is it.
embodying,
Yeah.
why wouldn't the newest, deepest, most profound birthing code, where else would it occur but on the boots on the ground? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Through you. Comes through you, and that's the magnificence of who we are too, that I don't even know how to, I'll try to explain it, because when we hit certain frequencies of awareness and who we are, it's not so much anymore about what we can manifest or whatever, because things are being manifested constantly your whole entire life. Doesn't matter, you're always manifesting, it's just always on a different level of awareness. So um you know we are that because we're creators, right? But the beauty of hitting the space that I'm at right now, is I'm I don't even have to like speak it anymore. It's like it's just flowing through me. Like I can literally envision something will come to me, and I'm not even sitting there thinking about it. It's just comes, and then I literally feel the creation within me, and then it just flows out, and I feel it coming straight out of my heart. So that's what brought me to that space of, I got scared of it though. Really honestly, I was scared of it because I was like, we cannot possibly be this. this powerful, because it's powerful. And to me, if anyone can tap into that awareness, what would be scary is people tapping into that awareness, and they're coming from like a really dark gray space, as opposed to someone that's wanting to create straight from the heart, straight from the purity of who we are. But that's what's been happening to me. And I did get scared of it because I was like, whoa, if that can like actually happen through me, I got to watch what I say. I've got to watch you have to be so mindful of every thought and every word that wants to proceed from your mouth, because now that creation is just totally flowing through you. And in order for you to, I don't even know how to word it, but like I'm not in control of it. I'm really not. So I'm being extremely mindful, because I'll have a conversation with someone and I'll say something, and then all of a sudden I can feel the life force just coming out, and I can feel it literally. I can see it. Okay, because I can see beyond, so I can literally see it forming in the non-physical and creating. And I'm like, wow, wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the best descriptions I've ever heard, because I always
Oh,
try to drill down to, okay, what does that look like to the human? You say we got to
yeah.
do this and we got to do this with the chakras and this. I'm not taking anything away from anything. I'm just saying
No, no,
we,
no, because they're all
it's funny.
stepping.
I was talking to someone on the show last week, and they were telling me about, like, kind of like what you're telling me about, like the downloads that come in, the awareness that comes in, and then you get spit out and you got to go be a human being. That kind of thing. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like it's almost like, okay, so we came to this level of awareness where we realized there was this alignment, for
Hmm.
lack of a better word, or maybe misalignment, of thoughts, words, and actions, where
Yes.
we were going through the gauntlet, all 3 points of that triad, and spitting that out unconsciously, and then it became
Naughty naughties.
unwillingly, in other words, unwilling to change it. And then we've reached this point where now, like you're saying, to instead of that occurring in second nature, we simply, and I say simply, I don't mean that, that it's easy, but like this is
Right.
where it
Right.
starts right here. So the thought comes, boom,
Yeah.
and I saw something on it today, how somebody deals with it on a video, but so that, like
Mhm.
I think you were saying earlier, there's other ways, there's many ways to do it, but that
Yeah.
stops. And then this natural unfoldment, this innate, this instinctual, this nature takes over, and there is the true alignment of the thoughts, words, and actions. So it's clear
Yes.
here, allowing everything to be open. And then you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
kind of, I don't want to say you go in and see what happens,
No.
because I think there's another side to it where what we can put from purity and pure intention and love in the physical
Hmm.
into the field, having cleared, having created that silence, we can project some incredible
Boom.
manifestations, going back to anything could change at any time.
And you just said it though. Uh, Clearing the mind. That is so important. That is so important because you don't have all that clutter and doo doo. I call it doo doo caca poo poo. All right. It's just a bunch of doo doo caca poo poo in there, right?
Well,
So
I know you're a Latina, because that's all I heard when I was a kid.
I'm
I didn't
not.
know what the other words were. I thought they were just
Oh
caca
my
and poo
God.
poo.
I'm not Latino. Actually, my parents were born in Hungary. So I'm Hungarian descent. So but that's one of my words I didn't want. I guess when I was under judgment of myself and what I would say and wouldn't say and what could be said and what couldn't be said because you're a divine being, la da 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 da. Instead of me saying all that shit inside of you, I came up with the word doo doo cuckapoo to make it sound more pure. But So that's just pure honesty, because we do that. We do go through like these cycles of, okay, well, I'm divine, so I can't say this, and I'm divine, so it must look like this. But when you come to that pure, authentic aspect of you, it's like it just flows. You just are, and there's no judgment whatsoever. But it is about clearing the mind. You got to come out of the head and into the heart, because here's where the purest aspect of us flows. And I was doing it for years and years and years and years, but when I stepped into this, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is our true nature. We're creators. We've been creators. It's just, my gosh, we've been creating on, that dense level of, creating out of fear, creating out of hate, creating out of jealousy, creating out of everything that, quote, we call the human awareness. Right. So now it's just pure divine. It's just the pure divineness, because it's a full surrender, and all that crap, doo doo caca has been filtered. So now the allowance is creation itself, just in the purest form.
Yeah.
Made you laugh.
You explain it very well, with the human fully represented with the soul. I love it. But yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
thank
Yeah,
you.
you're right. It's like, you wake up to a point where you go, oh, wait a minute. We're always creating. And my
Always.
thoughts, words, and actions have been in this misalignment where it goes
Yeah,
boom, 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 like ready, aim, fire. It's more like fire, ready, aim. So we shoot the
correct.
gun
Yeah,
and then we go, ready, aim. but
we
but
do
and
it.
then
We
you
did
and
it
then you
backwards.
flip and like you said so well in your own experience, it was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm actually producing this.
Yes.
And like you said, oh, I'm not trying to be, arrogant, or, it's a humility, like, oh my God, this is a honor. And the
Yeah.
other thing about the universe is, the universe is not going to put you in a place that you have not walked every step up to that point. It just doesn't work that
No,
way.
it
That is
doesn't.
the equilibrium of the universe. So here we are
Yeah.
in physical bodies, coming
Yeah.
to these realizations, and coming out of a thought process that, you got to build things slowly, or a ship moves slowly. No, we're in a whole different set of mechanics where,
Mhm.
you know, a year from now, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if there's people actively teleporting around the world, or, other things that might be considered supernatural.
I'm
I'm
gonna be one of
serious. I
them,
mean, like,
okay?
you know what I mean? I mean, I'm serious. It's the potential is there. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
But it
I think more and more
can.
people, but you know what? I think more and more people are moving away from getting their fix
Yeah.
from the world script, from
Yes.
the family, from all the circles of life,
Yeah.
and to find themselves in that space you were talking about earlier, basically, where everything becomes more and more and more of a true reflection of yourself. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's like, you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like it's like the secret weapon. It's like, no matter
Yeah.
what's put out there, this connection will work, and it works the same way every time because it's real. Um,
It's
yeah.
very real. That's the thing. It can't, this is the realest that it gets, and then sitting there going, okay, so I am that. I am all that is, and all that is flows through me, through this physical vessel. So if that's the case, this is what I did for me in order for me to harness it, I guess, to keep it in that space where the mind is clear. What I did was I just said, now it's time for me to know me, for me to know who I am, that highest aspect of who we are, the creator aspect. And in order to do that, it had to have full reign over this vessel, you know. It's no longer mine. doesn't belong to me. I'm giving it to you because
Did
you're
you,
better than
did you, right? It's like, I've always said it's not the word surrender, it's beyond that. There's something beyond surrender.
Yeah,
Because the
it is.
crazy thing is, it's like whatever that word is, I'll just use surrender. When it happens,
Yeah.
you become empowered, like uh, more
Absolutely.
greatly empowered. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's a huge proposition. Yeah, and I love the way you're bringing this up because like explain it at a human level. One of the
Mhm.
things that people have been talking about a lot, even though I haven't done as many shows in the last year and a half, I disappeared, but those
All
that
is
I have
well.
talked to, especially this year, with more and more of a frequency, is the body speaking. And I'm just wondering, in your own right, or those you may have worked with, if as this coding and awareness is coming in, are you experiencing any changes in your body? Is your body taking on any type of new role or new attributes or characteristics or abilities or connections? You know what I mean?
Oh, dude. Yeah. Yes. Tremendously. Um, and the beauty of it is, all right, so I'm doing it was supposed to be a 2-day webinar. However, it's turning into a 7-day because I wanted everyone fully there and present, everyone that is doing the webinar with me. But it's taken on its own awareness because we went from a 2-day going, we're finalizing it tomorrow. But what happened was we all gathered and healings started to take place. I had no intention of doing any of that. Okay. And, people, one of the people that was there was riddled with cancer. She had cancer, breast cancer, this, that. And just healing started taking place in my body. My physical form just was, it took the energy out of her. It took that frequency, that memory, the awareness of the cancer, and it filtered through my very own physical being. I was blown away as everyone else there was. It was nothing intentional. I didn't plan on it. Do I do healings of different sorts? Yes. But this was just, I think everybody just was like in awe that it was even occurring. Um, so, because I guess because I have given full permission for my own self to move away, the body doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the creator of it, that it has full reign to do whatever's necessary in every single moment. And I don't question it. It just does what is necessary. And different things took place this week as well that just blew my mind. And I'm like, holy cow, did that like just really happen? So it's nothing that I'm sitting here as I'm a healer or I do Reiki, or it wasn't anything like that. It just was, it just did what it needed to do for that particular vessel. Does that make sense? Like it's doing what it needs to do. And
No, yeah, I
it
totally
it
get that. I
really
think
has
that's
no
a big
way.
part. Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my
sorry.
God. And
There's
it's
a lag.
beautiful.
Sorry, I
Is
wasn't
there?
interrupting you. I heard you ask me
No,
that
you can
question.
interrupt me all you want.
Yeah, there's a bit of a lag.
Okay.
There's your mouth's moving like one of those old Japanese movies. Your mouth's moving and there's no voice. I'm just messing with you. Um,
Gosh, no.
God, what you ask me? Uh,
Oh,
I
I don't
forgot
think
what we
I
were talking.
asked.
Yeah, you were asking me a question. Do you think? But I can't remember what we were talking about. This is one of the characteristics of ascending, short-term memory loss. Oh,
That's
I know
it.
what I was. I know what I was going to ask you. Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I totally get. Yeah, I got it. I'm back. I'm back. Okay,
Okay.
so like, um, there's no question that like what you're talking about, like a group consciousness open to more and more degrees, the shared beehive intelligence and the effects of that to include a sister before someone and actually working in unison with that other mirror and doing some
Mm.
things that are very incredible at the human
Yeah.
level. What I was wondering was like in your evolution, be it these last few months, because they've been this month actually,
Oh, yeah.
or last couple of years, whatever. But you know how when there was a time, and I think you'll be able to relate to this. I think most people would. There was a time when we knew many different ways that we were downloading and getting code. And part of that process was, and still is, okay, maybe to a lesser degree, the mental and the emotional, right?
Mhm.
And then it seemed to go to the body.
Yes.
And I was just wondering, like, you know, if your body through this transition like had a flare up over here or an old injury here, an old, this or that, or anything that came from the body that was showing the same pattern that the emotional shedding and the mental shedding had occurred, that's occurred in the past. I was just curious.
Hmm. I'm not sure I understand what you mean, but prior to
Have you had any physical discomfort or anything that popped up or that was not normal? You know
heavens,
what I mean?
yeah.
Because like in the mental and the emotional, you kind of go, oh, okay, so mentally I can break this down. Emotionally, but I've known a lot of people, particularly these last 3 or 4 or 5 months, that have had
Mhm.
things pop up in their body that seem to have a direct, and I can't prove it, a
Mhm.
direct link correlation to the energetic change and transformation that they're having within themselves. I'm just curious, and there's no right or wrong answer.
Right, right. Yeah, yes. I have. One of them was prior to my awakening journey. I was always diagnosed with scoliosis. However, I literally healed that as well a couple of years back. But it's been playing almost like it's the body's trying to play a mind trick and bringing back old things to make you think that the old things are still there. And so I've noticed that with my spine, like I can feel it, but I know it's not there. And it's almost like the body's trying to say, hey, guess what? No, no, come back here. It's like a mind trick. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense and hits home with me because I had from like 29 to like probably like 45 um, chronic back issue. I had a condition. My brother had it. It got really acute with him, and and then I woke up like at 49, and I went on the streets and walked a lot and exercised and danced and rode bicycles and and it started coming back. But I couldn't attribute that to anything spiritual, even though at the time I'm having a spiritual expansion. I
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't that tapped in. Now, if I fast forward for the last couple of years in a greater frequency, my back is popping. It was basically unpoppable in the last, the bottom two or three, four vertebrae, and it's
Yeah.
popping all the way down into my tailbone. Now, half of me, which is what I can resonate with or what I can relate to when you said that, is
Yeah.
going, I'm falling apart.
Yes.
I need to like strengthen my lower back muscles. Maybe they've atrophied to a point where, what's going on here, But the other part of me is going, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a predominant thought.
Yes.
You're you're physically doing what you guys have done. I'm just using that example as you guys have done in the energetic field. So everyone's different, but for me, it might be the physical process of continually day after day popping my back 2 or 3 times a day, all the way down to my spine to allow that energy to flow.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know that in the last few months with my wife, with my daughter, with other people that I know, women. There was a lot of activity in terms of the circulatory system, some of the lower chakra area, almost like it
Hmm.
was a symbolic of a collective clearing of our feminine energy. I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't know. I'm just saying that in regard to what you're talking about, yes, I can relate. I can't prove it, but I do feel like that these things are happening. And I was just talking to someone yesterday on the show, and and the thought came up because it had been coming up for a couple of days, and
Yep.
I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to put up a post on social media, YouTube, X, Facebook, and say, does anyone have any imagery or any proof? Not that I need it. It's not about that. It's just
Right.
I'm wondering if there's anything out there that shows that our bodies are actually at a biological level, cellular level, etc., converting to crystalline and or light body.
Fully.
And I bet you there is.
Hmm.
That's my gut feeling.
Yep.
And like everything else, my wife used to say years ago when I met her, the first step to transformation is awareness. And I've
Yes.
watched as time's gone on, so to speak, because we know there's not any. But I mean, as time goes on, I've noticed that the period of time between coming into awareness and transformation is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So,
Yeah.
and I'm just using this as an example, but if, for example, there was a semi-viral or viral set of videos that went out that was saying, hey, here's imagery, we're using this technology, and we're transforming into crystalline slash light body. That
Yes.
that level, that exposure would like everything else, expand the level of awareness.
Hmm.
And and I guess my final point is I feel like that we can move faster and faster and faster, and it would make sense because everything seems to be moving faster and faster and faster. Yet we're
Yeah,
able
it
to,
is.
yet we're able to kind of keep up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Thank you for letting me speak and elaborate
Oh
on
my
that.
gosh. Yeah. Regarding the crystalline, I had a personal experience myself where um, I was just sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden I felt the energy that we are, right. It just came up through my physical being and out of the third eye. And when it shot out of the third eye, it was all light. And at the end of it was a beautiful white, I don't know what kind of bird it is, but it's like a form of a parrot, the one with the two little thingies here, and it was all white. So it was a representation of that which we are, So to me, that's crystallined. That's look, boom, you know, you are that. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's what I experienced, and it was really awesome and scary and everything all at once. It's mind blowing because all you
yeah.
witness your whole life is this physical form, and then all of a sudden, boom! Are you?
Well, I
It's
think that gets to the heart
beautiful.
of it too. It
Yeah.
gets to the heart of it because if you look back at all the sacred texts, which we can say legitimately, whether it's been kept from us or not, 6,000 years recorded history. You got a lot of different philosophies, secret fraternities, sacred books and texts, and there's a certain thread that comes back over and over again, such as the kingdom is within. What goes around comes around. Um, but going
Mm-hmm.
back to the the very first part of the show, like maybe that's the biggest thing
Yeah,
is actually accepting, you know, I mean, and this is almost like it is a solo trip, like
it is.
accepting who we really are. But
Yeah.
it's not um, void of this human experience. In
No,
fact, it's based
no.
on the human experience, and to unite that human experience into that space where we were talking about earlier, because
Yes.
it's not just the shadow side of going of understanding the shadow side and going, okay, wait a minute. When I think something, it's I can see how it influences things. When I say
Yeah.
it, I can see how it influences more. When I act on it, I can see how it influences more. And why am I doing this? And we go through this evolution, and then you get to the other side and you go, oh, like you said, oh, I need to take a pause before I put anything out.
Whoa, what is
That's
this? Yeah.
sacredness, that's
Yeah.
sanctity, that's purity, that's
Yeah.
responsibility, accountability.
Yes.
But
Yes.
still, there's this there's this thing happening. I think uh, as we're talking that okay, now I know this, so therefore I
Mhm.
am kind of you know driving this thing
Yes.
consciously and more consciously. And holy shit, look what just happened. Like,
Yeah.
oh wow. You know what I mean? Like, wow,
We're
okay.
badass.
Yeah, and then and it's like we were saying, or I was saying earlier, when you were talking about, the human experience, it's like a download from the old days, but it's happening real time in front of us. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
the same attributes. Like I just got this, I just had this a connection or this experience, and all this
Yeah.
code came in, and then like for the next day or two, you're going to be like on your ass, like integrating everything. You know what I mean? But I feel
Exactly.
like that the strongest code is coming through the mano y mano. The one on one, the two or more gather, open
Okay.
field
Yes.
coming into the same space. A lot of people talk
Yeah.
about going to like a Soulogy Fest or to a
Mhm.
event or a conference, and they talk about, oh my God, I had such a great experience. I mean, and the reason is because everybody's kind of coming from the same place in general. You know what I mean? So it's
Yes.
like that's taking place through
Yeah.
our individual new choices and awareness, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, you're so welcome. Thank you. What you said, it's not just light, it's the dark aspects of us. And the beauty of that is this is what we're here to do. We're here to merge it, not deny it. Everyone wants to deny it. You can't deny it. It's you. These are all aspects of you. These are all your creation. So it's not a denial, it's a merger. You're bringing that into the divine aspect of who you are, and you become one. It becomes a full alignment. You're all that is. So we're not denying any aspect of that which we are, yet in this awareness, we have the full responsibility, let's go the ability, um, as to what we're choosing to allow and what we're not choosing to allow on any one of our aspects, because it's merged into the one. Ooh, feel the love. Okay, it's coming
I'm
out of my body. I hope you can
about
feel
to turn
this.
on some
Can you
James
feel it? It's
Brown.
just like, oh, this is the life force, because it's the oneness. You're not separate from it. It is you. You're just bringing it here, saying, okay, look, you're not serving me right now. This is what serves me. So in this now time space reality, I'm only allowing that which serves the greater version of all that I am in this now time space reality to exude itself.
Boom.
Boom,
Yes,
baby.
boom. Like that's the culmination of what I took
Yeah.
25,000 words to say, but I mean that's the culmination of it. It's like when like, that's what I meant by the other side of it. It's
Yeah.
one, it's the human part. It's been the human condition
Yes.
experience to go, "Oh my God, I did that, I did this, I did that, I was this, I was that." And thoughts, words, actions. And then you go, "Oh, wait a minute. Let me just pause. Oh, that's
Yep.
interesting. Okay." And then
Mm-hmm.
you start to move forward, and that's actually what's
Mm-hmm.
happening. Your thoughts,
Yes.
words, and actions are coming into alignment, and I look at it like merging free will with
Yeah.
universal will. So if we created a
Boom.
construct or a realm, you know what
You
I mean?
just said it.
You know what I mean? Like if
That's
but
like you. I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but
No,
you
no,
say
you're
that
good. You're
my
good.
whole body explodes because that's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. And that's the truth of who we are. And that's the beauty of who we are, you know, coming from that space.
It's certainly at a minimum, it's our potential. But if you think about it, let's just say, for the sake of the discussion, we are gods and goddesses. We're
Hmm.
all part of the one. We're all fractals of it. We're
Yeah.
all we were all connected in a beehive intelligence. We created a
Hmm.
realm after millions and millions of realms to fool ourselves
Yes.
again. And we're so
Yes.
fucking intelligent, we had to really make something, you know what I mean? But if we were
Yes.
going to pick one, and I've heard over the years on the old show, many channelers, transmitting, downloading, talking about how this is the widest range of free will we've ever had. It's literally like a free will experiment. And
Yes.
and so if that were the case, knowing that Mother Goddess has a safety net and we're trapeze artists and no matter what happens, we're going to fall into her arms. So there's nothing to
Mhm.
lose and then your memory swiped and you go out and do it. But what would be the object of the game, so to speak, if it wasn't to merge free will from the innate, instinctive, natural core of all existence, regardless of the simulation or the occurrence or experiment or experience, but to
Yeah.
actually merge that with universal will in the moment as you go through, let's just say, life.
Life.
Now,
Yes.
the nail on the head is, oh, and by the way, this is the most dense physical experience we've ever had. It's the hardest trip, which has come
Yes.
through a lot in the old show with people, channeling and all that. Um, but the potential is the greatest.
Indeed.
And to me, the universe isn't going to let you come out here and play on Earth or Mother Earth. You
Yeah.
talk about having reverence for the ground you walk
Yes.
on. And again,
Yes.
the universe is only going to give you, but before it gives you, offer you the opportunity based on what you've done to be here.
Mm.
So to me, every single player here, I don't care who it is, George Soros or whoever the hell it is, Trump, whoever you like or dislike, they're a valiant
Yes.
playmate and co-creator. You
Yes.
know what I mean? I mean, that's how I feel.
It's
You know,
perfect. It's perfectly orchestrated. That's how I see it. You know, I'm not that I didn't orchestrate it, but it's perfectly orchestrated. And you get to take every little thing that everything that comes into your frequency of awareness, and you get to um, basically reflect off of it, and find the purest essence of who you are through all of it. Or you could reflect on it and find some real crappy aspects of who you are. You know, so you have every minute of every moment, you have that choice. I choose I
yeah, that's
choose
a
to I choose to find the love.
yeah, that's a good explanation too from the human part of it, which
Yeah.
means a lot to me. Like, you know how they talk about things will get louder and louder and louder.
Mm-hmm.
As the loop goes around, and it's
Yeah.
becoming such a personal. Uh, let's just say, as we near the nexus point, you might say, that
Yeah.
tube that shoots you out into the next one, it becomes more and more personal. Doors are closing. We can't externalize things. So
Mm-hmm.
the the push is there, you might say.
Yeah.
Like a bathtub when you let the water out and it starts getting low and it goes it's like that, right? You
Yes.
know what I mean? And so I feel like because of the way we've been conditioned, the patterns that have been deeply embedded in us, and there's no judgment. This is we're all in the same boat. That's part of
Yeah.
it. That we've had so much, we've had an overemphasis, and rightly so, on the shadow, which is
Yes.
equal to the light. And as we see, and maybe that's the human and the soul merging, or whatever. And as we come into this space where we can appreciate the human experience as a
Mhm.
standalone in equal ground as a soul, because they're one and the same thing, then you know it's like, from that point things start changing. And yes, we're going
Yeah.
to go through another one and another one because it's endless, but it's not like
Yeah.
endless and oh my god, what shadows are going to come up now, but what I wanted to say was what you I thought you were, you know you were kind of identifying, and you were showing it. Hey, you know what, at least for me it was like, so why do these things still pop up?
Hmm.
Even I'm not saying they're like wearing me down. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they still come into the field. And yes, they're getting lighter and softer. And I think a lot of people would attest to that. But I
Yes.
feel like that's a really good sign. And it's making it easier for us to cross that line within ourselves and say, I always call it the brutal honesty of the soul, where
Yes.
you step across the line in humiliation, and humility kicks
Yes.
in immediately. Like there's something about owning the shit that brings a
Yes.
deep humility. And I love your, like your imagery or your explanation of as a whole. All this
Yes.
stuff out there
Yeah.
may not be as important as focusing on myself, but it's still telling me something.
Yes.
And if there's grime and greasy, nasty, decadent stuff over here in the corner, it's still alive in my field. And
Absolutely.
I'm still responsible. And the last thing I want to say is I love the fact, what did you say about, oh yeah, uh, I never heard, or I never heard this before, and I like to write poetry and stuff, and it jumped out
Oh,
at me. And you said the word responsibility and ability almost in
yes.
the same sentence, right? So like, think about that.
Yes.
Ability, responsibility they
Yes.
come together. And I feel like, again, that's probably one of the really big things that we're to overcome is, oh my god,
Hmm.
me, yes, you,
Are
yeah,
you?
yeah, come on now, yeah,
Hello.
okay, it's real. You only got a little window here, 1,000 years apiece. You guys go
Yes.
out there and make hay while the sun's shining.
Yes. Exactly. And so it is.
Mm.
We're the beauty of everything that exists, simultaneously, what you're able to see and what you're not able to see, and that's just the bottom line. We're all of it, and yeah, and and being able to be aware that you harness life itself through this physical form, it, having that awareness, that is huge responsibility, huge responsibility. And it's an honor to be able to sit here and have that responsibility, because you're not just responsible for the divine aspect, which is all really divine, but now you okay, you're thrown back out here, right? And you go, well, I'm still responsible here, so you're responsible um for the whole, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah,
That's how I see
yeah.
it, for
No, it
myself.
makes it makes sense to me, whether it's the micro or the macro. And as I watch you do that, it's like, like the Milky Way, like
Yeah.
a spiral, and
Yeah.
it's always moving toward growth. Now, whether
Hmm.
that's a scientific reality or not, I don't know, but I'm just saying energetically, it's like always expanding. And that quantum entanglement aspect
Hmm.
is, if it's an absolute. which it would make sense that it is because it would feed into the idea of unity consciousness or oneness, then it goes straight back to the quote unquote source, creator, goddess, God. It goes right back. So
Yes.
that's coding and information. I often looked
Yes.
at it too over the years like this. Like, there's a difference between awakening and what's happening now. The first part was, and everybody had their stories, we compared them over the years, and they all ended up being the same storyline. And we could go
Yep.
into some of the basic characteristics, but it's not important right now. But the point is, you come into an awareness and go, oh, what the hell's going on here? you know,
And
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
oh, okay, wait a minute. Then, and so essentially, you're receiving code from, in many cases, for many of us, our higher aspects,
Yep.
spiritual icons, past memories, past lives. But then we get to a point where we're feeding code to the universe. And maybe we were the whole time, but to be consciously feeding code to the universe in the now moment, in the
Yes.
present, where we align thoughts and words and actions, pause, thoughts, words, actions. And we start to have this, I don't even know what the word is, but like
There
the
isn't
the,
one.
the potential is
There
just
isn't.
through the roof.
Yes.
It's literally through the roof. I mean, it could change a life, a let's say a connection, a group, a village. There was
Mm-hmm.
that story. I'm in Mexico, and there was that story, um, which has quite a bit of validity to it. There was a Mayan village in Mexico, and I don't know the dates, okay, but I want to say 300 years, whatever. So and I don't know how many people. I want to say it was like 4,000 people, and they came across the village, and the entire village was set up as if everybody was there. So, like, I don't know the particulars, but let's say like on tables there were plates and there was food and there was like glasses for the water, and the story goes that they were like Enoch, like they, as a group, their frequency band became so high that they, by human perspective, defied death or rose, without
Yes.
dying or whatever. So, like,
Yes.
to me, that's the kind of, whether that's a metaphor or not, that's the kind of potential that we have. And
Yes.
and I and I think to myself, okay, well, say you're full of shit, you know, but but where does that leave me? I can either say fuck it, I'll go sit on the beach and drink beer and just chill and body surf and live my days out. But there's something inside of us all that's not allowing us to do that, to be complacent, that brought us here, that kept us going through it all, through the shadows and through the dark nights of the soul, that's saying, hey, this is playtime. It doesn't
Yes.
come around all the time. And it's no judgment, but this is going to happen. This is
Yeah.
real. This is why you came.
Yes.
And and I really feel like that's something that's not pie in the sky, but it's only it's going to grow as we step into it,
Mm-hmm.
which is what
Mm-hmm.
you're exhibiting. Like you're saying,
Yes.
hey, I'm going to live in this frequency, in this consciousness. I am this consciousness,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Thank
Yep.
you.
And what I see it doing, me, let's just put it that way, is can, as you say, it's moving forward, it's growing, it's just right. Yes, it has no choice because all it ever does is seek to know itself on different, greater levels. So it's forever seeking to know more of its very own self, and it does it through us. Doing it through us is one of the greatest ways for it to know itself, um, through the dance form, you know. So yeah, yeah. And now all I feel is presence, and all I feel is yeah, baby. You just keep on talking like that because the world needs to hear this, and they need to know. They just need to know that they are far more beautiful, far more extravagant, far more grand, far more amazing than what they believe themselves to be. And we're here to represent that to the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we
And
do.
yeah.
And we've
And if we
chosen that. And man, we went through a bunch of doodle cock poo poo to get here,
we
but
should
it
go
was
back and
worth it.
change the title of this episode to
Doodle
number
cock
70,
poo
due to
poo.
cockapoople. Um, but yeah, but and like I think that's another thing that's shifting because I think you're a practitioner. My wife's a practitioner. We've been together 10 years, and I've worked with a lot of them, obviously on the old show.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily, that was the bulk of the guest, but something's shifted
Yeah,
in that all the way around. But I mean, like you can kind of see what's happening as we move towards self-sourcing,
yeah,
and so there's certain things that aren't working anymore because
yep,
even if it's at the smallest degree, there's a disempowerment, there's an uneven exchange, and it's not because anyone's a bad person, it's because this is the process of our evolution. So
yes.
having said that, when I listened to you earlier and you're talking about coming together with this group, a couple things jumped out at me. One was the power of that group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen this in my wife's work, where they have these groups, and you can see things from instant healing of major critical issues to all kinds of things, right? Um,
Yes.
and then the other thing was when you said, "Well, this is what we had planned,
Yep.
but this is what is happening," and you didn't even say, "This is what we had planned, and this is what we're going to do." You said, "This is what we had planned, and it's going to remain to be seen what we do." So
Yeah.
I think that is kind of a soft example of what occurs when we pause outward action, you know, and you know what I mean? And it's almost like it, and I think a lot of people could relate to this in their own way. I get this download, I got to go post it, or I got to do a video, but it's like, and then we all been through this evolution of, okay, and you start to write the post and your mind comes in, who do you think you are? Or whatever the case is.
Yeah, totally. Right.
But it's almost like we've gone from, oh, it came in, it's going to challenge the ego because of where we were at. You know what I mean? It's going to.
Yes.
We were human. We're human, whatever you want to call it. But now to come in and actually replicate that process, but use what you were talking about, where it's like, okay, boom. So it's almost like the baton is passed seamlessly, and the intel
Yes.
comes out, and it's coming through in our voices, and as well as our
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, and actions, and gather and connections. Um, and it grows as we do it.
Yeah.
And so if you look at that and go, "Whoa, wait a minute, you're just saying go do this, and we need to stop this war, and we need to stop fix GMOs, or and whatever all these thousands of myriad of issues are." But
Mm-hmm.
yes, this soft, almost silent, like the little voice in our head, powerful, pure space, being, field is it is the
It
Messiah.
is.
I mean, it's like, hey man,
It is.
okay,
Yeah, it
that was a
is.
hell of a trip. Now let's go back to ground zero. And it's
Exactly.
crazy because it's not about, like marching, boycotting, see what's happening, see what's happening. And that's why,
No.
like when you first started talking, I was like, yeah, the biggest challenge we have is
Mhm.
accepting ourselves, our
Yes.
grace, our power, our
Yes.
wisdom. And it's not
Yeah.
some bullshit, you know?
No, it's
And
not
even if
fake
it
at
is,
all.
I'd rather live my life like this than worrying about what the hell's going on and who's
I'd
trying to
rather be
stomp
in
me
this
out.
illusion than any other illusion. This is where I want to be. Um, but yeah, it's beautiful. And you talk about the downloads. I don't even see them as downloads anymore. Like it's like I'm at this place where it's not coming from outside me. It's coming from the inside out. So it's like I call them uploads. So because we're all that is, we're the encompassing sphere. We're the sphere. Look at a sphere, right? And everything and all of existence in every multidimensional level of awareness is here. It's inside that sphere, and you're that sphere. You're the wisdom of all existence. Now, tap into that one. try to like sit there and go, oh my God, like, whoa, that's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street. You know what I mean? It's like a
Yes.
two-way street. I love your imagery. Like, so you have like this sphere, and that's me, right? And then there's a giant sphere out here, and there's all these little spheres, and they're all have these lines going to them. Like, so my sphere has 144 lines going to the main sphere, father,
Uh-huh.
son, or whatever. Yet some of these lines are shut down, right?
Yes.
Now, I'm seeing that I'm shut down, therefore I am shut down. Like those lines, those roads are closed and those lines of communication are not active. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's another thing that's happening, what you're speaking to is it's not happening out there. It's
Nope.
happening here.
All here.
So stuff's not turning on. And you know, in other words, stuff's not like well, we say this, it's coming into us, but it's actually turning on. You know what I
Boom.
mean? And to me, the again, the crazy wild card is the human body. What we know is a human body. So like, okay, if we're getting down to this level of nut cutting, you know, we're splitting hairs to this point,
Yeah.
uh, why wouldn't this physical body be the energetic Merkabah that we have come to terms with, or that we have connected with, or that we are? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, and if that's the
Well, it
case,
is.
what's the potential? You know what I
It
mean?
is that.
Yeah, yeah.
It is that. I've been shown that it is 100%. It is that. It is the Merkaba. It is, your spaceship, whatever you want to call it. This is it. It's not out there. It's here. It's all encompassing right here. And yeah, the potential is insane because you look at the human physical being, right? Every single aspect of it is awareness. Every aspect is awareness, and every part of that is the one, because they're all aware of the other being it, yet they each have their own special role to play in order for the one existence of the physical being to exist. Does that make sense? So it's the
Mm.
external version of the internal creator of the
Yeah,
external
like,
creation.
yeah. Some people talk
Yeah.
about some people, I thought about this earlier when you were talking about it too, or when you were talking earlier. Some people say I it's a life review in form.
Yes.
So, you know, like NDEs and out of bodies, for those of us who've had them, many times they come with a life review. And in that life review, the common characteristic of it is from my thought, from my word, from my action, as I'm now looking through my soul's eyes up here, I can see the how it felt to receive it.
Yes.
So you immediately have this oneness intelligence that allows you, because think about it. If you and I were in that space and I thought something
Yeah.
and felt you feel it, or I said something and you felt you feel it, I would immediately alter or refine my communication, or my being, or whatever you want to call it. My awareness would grow because I would have that sensitivity that came from the code of how it
Yes.
affected you. So, you know, my wife talked about this, you know, even up to like maybe a year ago. And then I saw other people talk about it and I felt it. I thought, oh, wow. Think about the
Mhm.
technology, if we want to use that word, of having, because we talk about, oh, we're empaths. We're empaths. Well,
Yeah.
what would be the truest? most powerful part of being an empath would be to put yourself in someone else's shoes,
Mhm.
not in violation, but just to simply feel what they're feeling or see what they're
Indeed.
seeing.
Indeed.
And to me, that kind of speaks to what I feel is at a minimum the potential to be able to conduct life and experience life and live. Okay. Because if we weren't
Yeah.
living, this would be a moot point. The whole point is we're
Right.
alive.
Right.
And so there's got to be some meaning to that. So, in other words, to be able to apply that technology and refine ourselves at a more rapid pace as we move on, to me is, I guess, in kind of in a way, is part of the reason I'm sticking around. Because,
Yeah.
because
Going anywhere.
yeah,
I
because
can't.
I don't think we just came here to wake up and to wake up the world. I
No.
think we
And
came
then
here to
oh,
actually, that was the first
West.
half, you might say, or the first leg of it, or maybe it was 90% of it. I don't know.
I think it's 90% because but now we get to now it expresses through us, and yet as it's expressing through us, guess what we're still doing? We're still waking up the damn world. You're still the reflection. You're still being, the truth, the light, and the way by living it, by being
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right? There's more. And about the feeling, yes. Being able to because being an empath, there you go, another word, another title. So it's what we are. So when we're in that beingness of all that we are, it's absolutely impossible not to feel and not to see what that other uh, reflection of ourself, like you or someone else, is feeling and is
Mm,
seeing,
yeah.
because we get to see through one another. We get
Yeah.
to, and when you're able to feel that, um, because that's what we are, anyways. We're it. So how can we not?
Yeah. And I think another thing that's happening too is I'm talking to you and I'm picking up, it's like empath, empathy,
Ching, 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 ching.
but you know what I mean? Like we're the whole journey,
Yeah.
it's one thing to have polarity. All right.
Hmm.
That's kind of the universal makeup, yin and yang. But to have a
Yeah.
dualistic polarity, this was
Hmm.
the journey, the saga, right? So if you look at a word, say, and again, like you said, roles, there's another word, role, there's another label, there's another name.
Yep.
Therefore, there's another definition, there's another consciousness energetically being put out again, or however you want to put it.
Yep.
But
Yep.
the empathic, you cannot, and this is my opinion,
Mhm.
totally, but I don't see how anything can be an exception to zero pointing polarities. And
Correct.
there seems to be a direct relationship between our growth and our ability to bring those two polarities into the sacred space. So if I'm an empath, I cannot be, I personally cannot call myself an empath unless I truly know to the same degree being unempathic.
Yes.
Okay, being open to
Simultaneously.
the other side of it and saying, as high vibrational as I might think I am, or whatever the case is, or smart or intelligent, am I open to the fact that I carry those same
Mhm.
in equal energy, the same polarity as I feel. In other words, do I feel the same way as I do about being an empath? So these are this is the space. This is the fertile ground of new creation. I feel that we're on, and there are no exceptions, and it takes no prisoners, and we're all going to die, 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 die again and again and again until we it's kind of like going in to get a when you're a kid, you go in to get a shot from the doctor and you're like, oh my god, no, no,
Yeah.
no. And then they
Yeah.
do it and the needle comes out and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, till we get to the point where not that we're numb to the
No.
experience, but to be able to look at it and go, oh wow, this pattern is breaking down, this system's breaking down, this operating system's breaking down. However you want to put it, we're moving into 5D, whatever. But I really like talking to you because you bring a sense of we make this choice now. Like right
Yeah.
now. We don't talk about tomorrow. We don't, it's like right now and every moment to the best of your ability because there's no owner's manual.
Yeah.
We're
And
making
nothing
it up,
existing
right?
except for what is here. This is what's existing. All of existence is you, but this is what's existing right now. So yeah, moment to moment to moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that always
It's a
made sense to me
beautiful
that,
place to
okay, so
be
if
in.
I'm sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. That's part of the evolution
All
is
right,
getting
this is the
getting in touch with
reality.
our emotions and bringing them all
Yeah,
together in one voice kind of thing. But yeah, I've always
yeah.
felt that way too. It's like, okay, well, how can I be 99% of the time conscious in my human when I'm not sleeping if I'm multidimensional? Where's the other 1%? kind of thing. But that 1% is metaphorically speaking coming in to us, and I feel like we've crossed the halfway mark or something, like we're in a new territory. I saw this video today and I can't remember the first two words. Oh, I know what it was. It was a video and I shared it, and it was talking about this, and it's an incredible video. A great example. It's about 2 minutes long. I put it up in Soulgy group, I think, or maybe on my page. And it was talking about the cycle of perpetrator and victim. And it
Hmm.
started with, as an example, uh, the Irish. So the Irish, if you know any of the history, they went through some major shit. They were totally suppressed, and many of them came, and their rights were taken away, and etc. Their land was taken. They came over to North America, and they
Hmm.
did the victims the same thing that was done to them.
Yes. Boom.
Okay. All right. So
Yes.
I was like, whoa,
Yes.
that's a
Yeah.
powerful anecdote. And if the reality is in our lineage and in our incarnations, the same would hold true to include those beyond the earth. All right. In my opinion, at least in the galaxy,
Absolutely.
Orion Wars and, all that shit. But anyway, so what he said was, and it was a triad to me, a weird triad, because over here's victim, over here's perpetrator,
Exactly.
and then the other corner was creation.
Hmm.
And I said, what? He's like, yeah. So you get to the point where you realize that
Hmm.
you are that.
Yes.
And so you can either sit here in the middle and go back and forth, kind of thing. I'm using my own words, and be in that atmosphere, be in that vibration, be in that band of frequencies. Or
Yeah.
you can go to the point and you can begin to create, which makes
Correct.
sense to me because if it's a triad, those
Yeah.
two other elements are going to be the coding, the alchemic material for your expressions of inspirations of life, of love, and so on. So that kind of struck me, and I still don't get it all. I don't get it all, but I do see it as something I've never seen before. I've never seen it put that way. Uh, you
Yeah.
know, and maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe at the end of the day, we just need to get off our ass and start creating and not worry about
Mhm.
if we're going to fuck something up or not.
Because you're not. You're really not going to mess it up. You can't. Um, because whatever comes of whatever it is you created was necessary, and it's there for you to witness more of you, anyways,
Yeah.
whichever way it comes out.
Yeah.
So, so either way, all is well, right?
Well, I think, yeah. And the humor is important. The humor is very, very,
Yeah,
very important. And it carries
yeah,
tremendous wisdom. I've really enjoyed talking with you. I've
yeah,
only got one show today and take a little break. No shows tomorrow, but yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I had a good feeling about it. It was the last in the line of like 2 weeks of shows I set up, and now I don't have any. I got to go set them up. But I really enjoyed it, and I really
me
appreciate
too.
you coming in and being open and being transparent with your human being and your soul. And I wish you the very best. Blessings of grace to you and yours and all those things you're getting into. And I hope to get together with you again sometime.
Yeah, I would
You
love
never
that.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. And just to throw this at you, I got a phone call from, I know it's a deep love, brother love of yours, Renee Hamilton.
Oh,
Got a,
wow. Renee Hamilton.
yeah,
Renee
what's up?
Hamilton. Renee
Yeah.
Hamilton came into my radar. I was, let's see, I was 2012. I kind of started online in it would have been like 2013,
Uh-huh.
like one of the oldest things.
Yes.
Back when I was writing poetry, and I told him, send me a picture and I want to do do one on, like your energy. Yeah, we go
Hmm.
way back. Toronto. Is
Hmm.
he in Toronto, right? Right.
Uh, yes, I believe so.
Yeah, he's in Toronto.
I
Yeah,
believe so.
cool
Yeah.
dude. Very cool dude.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful. I
Yeah, I
told
had
him
him on. I
to
had
shout to
him
you.
on. Yeah, 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 yeah. Big props to him. Anyone that puts it out there,
Yeah.
whether you resonate with them all or not. I'm not saying I do or I don't with Renee. I'm just saying, anyone that goes out there and carries their lunch bucket every day, goes out, goes to work. I have the utmost respect for. Not comparing him to anybody, but
Right.
he's not been bashful. And yeah, he was part of my early awakening.
Yes.
We had a show, and it was very good. Yeah. So yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for that synchronicity. So I will
Yeah.
see
You're
you on this
welcome.
side, the other side, or both.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
You
Thank you for
take
having
care.
me.
All right.
Absolutely.